Hi, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm back at it. I pulled out my 110 scrapbooking ideas and sketchbook, and we're going to get another layout conquered. So if you have this book and you're following along, I'm going to jump over to page 12, which is this sketch right here. And I'm going to go ahead and put that full screen so that you have the sketch and the inspiration piece side by side so we can take a little bit closer look at it. So as usual, I am going to take this sketch and I'm going to make it into a double page layout. And this is going to be a fun one. I like this sketch a lot. There's a lot about it that I really like, but there is one thing that I am not a huge fan of, and I'm going to talk about that when we get to it. But there's a lot to talk about with this sketch. So let me change the screen over and talk more about the sketch individually without our inspiration piece in the way. So here's the sketch. There's basically two layers of a mat on the background piece. So the background piece consists of a block on a block on a block. So let me show you like this. Here's the sketch with the first block. So basically a mat around our page. Now here's the sketch with the second block. You'll see it's another mat around the page. And then the third block is the final block, and that's where there's more pattern paper, and that's where the photos lie, okay? And then there's just a thin band running across the entire length of the layout. Okay, I'm gonna be working with the Endless Meadows collection kit. I'm gonna use pieces from both the Designer Paperback and the Tone on Tone Paperback. This was Creative Memories spring paper collection, and it is still available. I'll have it listed down below in the descriptions if you're interested in it. I'm going to do a bunch of Easter photos today. Easter is a fun day at our house, and this year we did a massive adult egg hunt, which I'll explain more about as we go through. But anyway, so I ended up with a ton of great photos that I want to put into my album. And the thing is that I'm not even sure 2 pages is going to be enough. I have other photos for this event, so I know it's going to spread into more pages, but I'm also, not only am I going to make it into a 2-page spread, I'm also going to add a 6x12 Peekaboo Pocket into the center of the page so that I could add even more photos. So I have 19 photos that I want to get onto this 2-page layout. And that's why I really need to incorporate this Peekaboo Pocket. So having this Peekaboo Pocket is really like almost having a 3rd page because it's a 6x12, so it's going to be long, and I'll have both sides of that pocket to put photos on. So I'm very excited about that, and can't wait for you to see what I have in mind with that. Okay, so let me put some of these things aside and we'll jump into our page creation. Okay, so like I said, I'm using the Endless Meadows paper collection, and I need to build up the background of my layout. So I've decided for the outermost frame or mat on that layout, I was going to use this beautiful floral paper. I think this paper really helps to tell my story because it was a beautiful spring day sketch. It calls for a 12x12 piece, and then they took a 11x11 piece, so they took an inch off of 2 sides and they put it on top like that. And then they kept building up. The next box was where they put the photos. Okay, but because I'm making a 2-page spread, I would need to have my background mat as well as 2 11x11 inch squares like this. But I don't want mine to be separated like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my 11-inch mat here, but I'm going to scoot it in to the edge of my paper on both sides. So I still have the same size mat, but I'm going to push it in. I'll have a little bit bigger of a margin here, which is fine. But if you don't want that, then you would just trim that side of your paper. Maybe I did 1 inch, maybe you would want to do a 1/2 inch. This is a 1/2 inch. So if you wanted a 1/2 inch all the way around, then you would want to do 11 by 11.5. Okay, so I'm showing you with this green paper, but I'm not going to use the green paper. I just thought that this would make it a little bit more clear as to what I was going to do. So what I'm going to do is, so I have this beautiful paper here, but I love the back side as also, so I am going to gut this out so that I can save both those chunks of paper for another project. But I will be using the 2 full-size sheets and just gutting them out. Then I'm going to bring in, for my middle box, so I love this purple paper, and that's going to be my center piece. So I still have to trim this. Now the thing is, I only have 1 full-size sheet left of this paper, but I do have some scraps as well. So I thought I could just bring in my scraps, weld them all together. You'll see here in the center, it would end there on that side, and then this whole piece would come over to the other side. So I would have a pretty decent box, but I would have a wide margin here. I could always scoot it to be even on both sides, like that. Let me scoot it up. You'll see, I just haven't trimmed it yet because I haven't made my final decision, but this is my plan. I'm going to use the purple and the flower. But what I'm thinking of is to even save paper even further is I might, instead of gutting this, because if I put an 11 by 11 inch piece of paper down, then I would still want to gut the center of that as well. I think what I might do is cut it into 1-inch strips and then make my own border across the page. So that's the plan with that. So for the third phase, if you're looking at the sketch up in the corner, you'll see that inside that block is basically 3 sections. The first section has a strip like that across the top on both sides. And then the next section is what I'm going to show you here on the screen. And it's all these 2x2 little squares of different random papers. Now they use the same collection, but they just made 2x2 squares. And that there is the part that I'm not a huge fan of. I feel like there's already going to be a lot of pattern paper on this, and I'm just not one that really likes when I have a lot of small quilty type papers on a layout. I just tend to not gravitate toward them. But I know that me personally, then I'm not a huge fan of little pieces of pattern paper around my layout. So this is where I'm going to change up the sketch a little bit, because I'm not going to put a strip of quilted pieces across. I'm going to change that into one big strip that goes across. So my point here is with this, when it comes to sketches, they are meant to inspire us to, you know, maybe start if we're having a little bit of a mojo funk, or maybe it's to inspire us to pull out certain paper. There's a lot of different things that a sketch can inspire us to do, but what we have to keep in mind is that the sketch is there to inspire us, but it's not required that we use exactly the materials and exactly the design that they had. It's used to inspire, but it not require. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you're using a sketch. And so I'm going to implement that plan here. So that is, they're 2-inch squares. So to me, that would equal a 4-inch block. So what I'm going to do is bring in this green paper. It's the opposite side of that one. I'm going to trim it at 4 inches and put it on both sides. And that's going to be my middle strip. Okay, and then the third paper is, I'm going to have to go grab some more. So what they did in the sketch, and then the bottom section is where they took another piece of pattern paper and used it as a photo mat going this direction and this direction. The third block is about another 4-inch piece of paper. So let me do a couple things here. Let me gut this paper, figure out what I'm going to do exactly with my purple paper, trim down my green paper, and grab my other piece of the orange washed paper, and I will be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and this is what I've done. I was able to gut out the center of the flower paper. So that was great. I can keep this piece for future projects, and I have 2 of those. Then I took the purple paper and I did 1-inch strips across the top and the bottom. I went all the way to the edge because I want it to look like it's running across the 2-page spread. And then I did a strip down the side, and I did pay attention to the direction that the paper was going in. Cutting that did allow me to use my purple paper, and I don't need to have a whole piece showing here, so that was great. But I will say that did take a little bit of time, and because I did decide to miter the corners, so I had to cut that and be very careful about that. And then what you don't see here is I accidentally wasn't paying attention, and I adhered it to the back side, so I had to pull it off and put it back onto the flower part. Thank goodness I did use my repositionable, so that made it somewhat doable. I wouldn't have been able to save it if I had used the permanent. But that's why I'm getting a little bit of curling here. Okay, so which brings me to my next point, is that this page is now going to be very flimsy. But once I get the other strips on here, it might give it a little bit more stability, but I have a feeling since I'm missing so much in the middle there, it might continue to be a little flimsy. Now, I use the Creative Memories top loading pages, which I absolutely love. And if you also use these, then you know that it comes with this white piece of cardstock, okay? And the cardstock is in there for a couple of reasons. So one, you can pull it out and you can design and create right on top of this and then slide it back in. You can also do double-sided if you want. Most people who use the top loading pages aren't using it for that because we are designing on paper and then we just slide it in here. So another reason that is in here is if you have a really flimsy page, you leave the white page in there, you slide it all into the page protector, you leave the white page in there, and then you slide your page in, and then that would give it more stability once it's in your album. Okay, so 95% of the time I take the white sheet out and I use it for other projects, or I use it for matting on my photos. But this is one of the 5% of the time that I will probably leave it in there to give it stability. I'll see once my page is complete, but I might need to leave that in there for durability. So when people are flipping through my album, it won't be a flimsy, all of a sudden I have a really flimsy page. Okay, so let's continue on with building this. At the top up here, I'm going to start just like they did. I have a 2-inch strip, but I made mine by 11 inches. And I'm going to take it all the way flush to one edge over here. So let's do that on both sides. We'll flush it in. What we have is, I'm bringing in this green grass. It's going to butt up right next to that. Same thing, I'm going to flush it over here. Now this piece is 4 inches, also by 11 inches, and this is going to replace all the 2-inch little squares that are on the sketch, okay? Because I didn't want to have that, so I just went with a straight strip across. And then I'll bring in the same thing on this side. And then lastly, what they did down here was they took a 6x4 photo and they placed it like this. And then what they did right here is they brought in a mat from the mat pack. Okay, so that's how they did their layout. I'm just going to bring in one solid strip of 4 inches by 11 inches, again to the bottom. And I have 2 of those, so I'm going to bring it across to the other side. And that's going to be the background for my layout. So you'll see how the sketch inspired me, but I did change it up ever so slightly. So let me step away real quick and just get this adhered down so we're not looking at a bunch of papers moving around. And then I'll be right back and we'll do some photo placement. Okay, so we're back and I've adhered everything down. So what I did was I ever so slightly overlapped them here and here, just a very small amount. But on the back, I did reinforce those sections with some washi tape, again, just to create that stability. So now I'm feeling like my page is getting much more stable now that I've filled in those empty frames. For added stability, also, whenever you gut a page, you can go around the whole outline of the frame with washi tape if that helps to give it some stability as well. Okay, so the last thing with this page design, if you look at the sketch, they have a strip going across the top right here at the divide between this 2-inch strip and where those 2-inch blocks are. Okay, so that would be right about here on my layout, and I do like that, so I'm going to do the same. Cut out a 1/2-inch strip from the yellow bird paper in this collection. Let's talk about photo placement. They had that 6x4 photo going right here, and I liked that a lot. But what I wanted to do, and then they had journaling, and they have journaling and embellishments, but what I want to do is I want to continue bringing in some more vertical photos. So I will do 3 across like that, and I will be trimming these so that there is probably some space between each one. I think all these photos have areas that we can trim. Go ahead and continue the other side. We'll have something like this and this and this. Okay, so again, lots of room that I can crop those down and get rid of some of the space that I don't want. So those will all be lined up at the bottom. So instead of just one photo, I'm going to put 2 additional photos on each side. Then what I'm going to do is up in this area, so I'm probably going to try and keep below this line just like they did in the photo, and then do some decorating and embellishing at the top there. So what I want to do there is to chop down some photos. I have a lot of different photos, so I want to just cut them down and focus in on certain people and certain things going on in the photo. Remember, this is an extreme egg hunt, so I want to try and incorporate as many as possible. Okay, so it's going to look something like that. In fact, I'm going to try and get 4 per side. Okay, so let's go ahead and start trimming down. Okay, get my trimmer here, and I'm thinking if I have 11 inches, maybe I'm going to start by cutting them down to probably 3 inches. Let's see what we have here. Each one 3 inches, and we'll go from there. Okay. Okay, and then as far as the height, so you see I have a lot more space in between, which then just gives me more room for embellishing, right? Okay, so now as far as height goes, I think let's try 5 inches, and I'm going to do all of these, and I'll come back and we'll see if we like the 5 inches, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, so let's see. Do we like the 5 inches? I'm going to lay them something like this for them now. And actually, let's bring them all closer to the center of our page. I like that idea much better because it kind of will line up right with the photos on the next page. There we go. So I'm going to keep it at 5 inches for now and see what size photo do we want here. So I could either go over the line, or I could bring these down ever so slightly as well. Okay, or I could do both. I can have line it up just like a grid. So that's a 3 by 3. And I'm not sure I want to go lower than a 3 by 3. So let's check our photos out and see. Okay, that one's okay. Now here's one that's a little bigger. So I'm going to lose a little bit of the action here. if I do a 3x3. So that one I might have to go a little bit bigger. This one I'm focusing right here on this, the girl right here. So a 3x3 will be okay for that one. And then of course this one, a 3x3 is okay. Here I'm focusing more on him. So I want to probably prefer a little bit bigger on that one. So let's put that one with this one. And then this one, a 3x3 would be great. This one, I just want to show the egg. I'm going to put this one down here. I might want a little bit bigger. And then here, I just want to focus on the people in the photo and the background. So I think a 3x3 is going to be fine for that one as well. So if I do a 3x3, and these are 3 inches actually, I can probably get only 3 across. Let's do this one. 4 inches. This one would be better as a 3.5 by a 4. So I definitely want to keep this picture in here. So, okay, so let's start cropping these. Got to do a little math here, right? Because I only have 12 inches to play with from edge to edge. And do I want to overhang? If I keep them 3 inches, I could do 3. And maybe I can have the last one. I could do 1, 2, 3, and then have the last one a little bit bigger. So let's go with that theory and see how far we can get with that. So cropping those down really small really helped to focus in on those photos. So let's see what we got here. Okay, I'm going to move this one around. You see he's looking that way, so I don't want to have him at the end because then it looks like he's looking off into the outside of the page. So we want him looking in. Let's get that in place. That way, it was just moving around a little too much. So let's get that down. Okay. Yeah, since he's looking that way, we want to make sure he's facing in toward the page and not away from our page. She's looking directly at the photo here, so I want to keep that the same. And so it's going to look something like this. So see, I like to keep things really linear, and I would say I succeeded on this page. Okay, how about this page? Same thing. She's looking in. These two could be maybe in the middle. Let's do it like that. And that's me, so I want to make sure I'm looking in toward the page as well. And line these up. Okay, so now I have 2 more photos. I have to make a decision how I want to do them. So this one, I'm only going to have him. I have other pictures of her that I'll use later. Better photos that would be better utilized later. And let's turn it and let's see if we make this a 3 inch by 4 inch. Let's see here. And over here, I kind of like that, but I am going to make it a little smaller. So maybe a 1/4 inch on each side. Turn it. So I made that 3.5 inches. And then it's going to go something like that. And same with this one. I think we said 4 inches, right? So let's go ahead and do 4. See if we like that. I do feel like I could probably cut off a little more. Let's do the top and see what we think. Do we want a 1/2 inch? Yeah, we'll go ahead and get rid of that. And then let's see. How about a 1/4 inch on each side? Okay, so let's see what we have here. I'm really trying hard to get as many photos on here as possible, but don't forget I also have the Peekaboo Pocket that I'm going to bring in, so that'll be fun. Let's see here. So I think that's still pretty good. You can see the action in the photo. He's reaching in to grab an egg that somebody put on the ledge of the pool. And I'm not sure if she's helping him or trying to push him in. It's her father, so Okay, and then this last photo, I'm going to do the same thing and kind of have it overlapping the photos like that. So that is quite a bit of photos on this layout, right? I still have these areas I can embellish, and then I will do some shelf work up here like they showed in the sketch. It looks like a little shelf with some embellishments up there. So I like that idea. So I still have room to embellish. Okay, so I think I really like this. So I am going to get this all adhered down, and I'll be right back and we'll start embellishing. Okay, so we're back and everything is adhered down, and we're ready to go on to our next step, which is embellishing and finding a place for our journaling. So let's start with that, with finding a place for our journaling. So while I was adhering, I had moved this mat card that I showed as an example earlier of placement of paper in the sketch. I saw this mat card and I liked it, and so I fussy cut out the journaling spot, and then I cut it into two, and I think what I want to do is to put half over here so I can journal, and then half over here. So I like these, so whether I use them for journaling, I'm not sure, because I still do want to add in the Peekaboo Pocket, so I might have some room on that for journaling as well. I thought that I would maybe put my title here. So I went through the stickers in the collection kit, and this was not made to be specifically for Easter, so I didn't have anything that, you know, stood out to me that I thought would be appropriate for this layout for Easter, because this layout is just showing the egg hunt that we were having. So I went to my Cricut and I cut out the words egg hunt, and I actually thought maybe it would look really good right down there. And then we didn't call this just an egg hunt. We did refer to it as an extreme egg hunt. So I went to my stash and I got some little letters out that say extreme, spelled out the word extreme. And so I want to do something like that, where it'll say extreme egg hunt, and I will have it at a diagonal, and these will be touching that photo ever so slightly. Okay, so that's going to be my title. I will keep this for some journaling for now. And the next thing is to add some embellishments across the top. And then even over here, I might want to add some. So there is a lot of nice things, nice embellishments from here that we can add. So for example, I really like this flower because I feel like it's going to bring out the background of our pattern paper. I'm going to put that up onto some foam squares and give it a little bit of dimension. Okay, and then I think I'll bring that right down here under our journaling box. And I also want to mention, while I'm thinking about foam, I did pop up these two photos on some very low profile foam, just to give it that, you know, kind of like it's popping out of the page sort of look. So I would like to take this sticker from the sticker sheet and kind of slide it right here under the word extreme and into the egg hunt area, so that just kind of gives something else over there as well. And now across the top, I've just selected miscellaneous stickers from the sticker sheet or from my embellishment stash, and I'm just going to add some things across the top. Okay, so I first took this from the sticker sheet. It has the flowers, which I really like, and it's an oval shape, so it kind of looks like an egg. Now, if you look, you probably noticed when I was putting this page together, I have a little seam here. Well, what happened was I mismeasured, so I had to weld a piece back together. So I'm going to use this opportunity to put this oval right on top of that and kind of hide that. So I'll probably put it at an angle. And then I have this butterfly from the sticker sheet to bring in some of the yellow. We have a lot of yellow going on in our layout, so I'm going to add that. I just put it on a little piece of foam tape. I'm going to add that going up toward the top of the oval. Okay, and then next to that, I kind of layered up 2 stickers, some leaves, and a little purple flower to bring in some purple from our sticker sheet. I put that right there, and then I brought in this cute little yellow Easter basket. I like how it has all the multiple colors that we're using. So my plan is to put that, that'll be the next, and I'm going to kind of have those stickers popping out from behind. Next to that, I want to add in this vase full of flowers. You see, I'm just trying to bring in a lot of flowers and a lot of springtime to this layout, as well as to put a little bit of Easter flair in there as well. So with that, I'm going to layer up this puffy egg. Now the egg is a little big, so I'm still thinking about that. I'm trying to decide which way. There we go. I put the vase up straight and then the egg at an angle, which is what I might do over here. Kind of make it a little more linear. Then next to that, and the last one on this row is again from the sticker sheet, and I'm just going to lay it flat and tuck it right in there. So I have 4 little spots, and then I just kind of varied whatever I put in there. Okay, now continuing over to this page, I want to continue with this theme I'm doing. So I picked some more yellow flowers to go right here, and then on top of that, I do want to put a little purple flower, and I put that up on to some foam tape to again bring in the colors from our paper. And then next to that, I want to put even more flowers from the sticker sheet, and then this time I want to bring in a little bird. See, over here we use the butterfly, and over here I want to use the bird. Next to that, I'm bringing this one in off the sticker sheet to go kind of like that, so it kind of tucks down a little bit lower, so it kind of gives the illusion that things are staggered. Final one is I was looking for, again, something to cover up my slit of paper that I made there, and so I found this sunshine sticker that says sunshine is the best medicine. Like that, because it was a beautiful sunny day. And then I'm just going to slide everything over because this does matter to me where that is. So I have to bring everything else over. Let me just loosen this up a bit. There we go. And then I can tuck that in, bring this over, our little birdie, and then like that. So the last thing I'm going to bring in on that is maybe some little tiny puffy stickers with a little bit of Easter theme. So I'm going to go with this little pink one and kind of tuck it into the grass right there. And then I have a little green one that I'm going to tuck into the grass right there. We have some cute little bunnies. Let's see. I kind of like this one, but where can we put him? I'm thinking we can put him right over here. I like that. That is quite a few embellishments for me. I don't usually embellish too heavy. I am going to be scooting this one over just a tad. I realize there's a lot of room between oval and that butterfly, and so let's bring this over a tad and this over just a slight tad, and then there. We have one final thing to do in this layout, and that is to do our 6x12 Peekaboo Pocket. So let's do that really quickly. Okay, I'm back to work on that 6x12 Peekaboo Pocket. So while I was away, I went ahead and adhered everything down because these little stickers were just not sticking over here. So they kept falling all around, so I decided to go ahead and adhere everything down so I could work on the Peekaboo Pocket. Let's pull in some supplies here. So here's my 6x12 Peekaboo Pocket, and it'll be adhered on to the outside of the page protector for this page. Okay, and I'll fold over the little flap and I'll adhere it like that. So that's what we need to do. We need to make a page for this side and then for the other side. So what I brought in was a piece of off-white. I thought off-white went really well because here in this pattern paper, it's off-white. So I thought that if any of it's peeking through, then it's okay because it'll match really nicely. Okay, so for the first half, I want to bring in this yellow piece. When I'm looking at this half and I had to decide what is going to be here, I really felt like I want to bring in some more yellow. This just seemed a little too dull for me, so I flipped it over and I want to have that paper covering it up like that. Okay, and I'm going to have a very slight, like maybe even less than 1/8 of an inch. I'll trim it a little more down here of that paper I was just talking about, poking through the back side. Okay, then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring in another piece of this green strip so that when the page is closed, it'll look like the strip is running completely across. And it worked out really good because I have that one embellishment right there. I have a couple of pictures that are unrelated to the extreme egg hunt, except for the fact that it's us counting the eggs the night before. Okay, so if you've never done that, where you've had the pleasure of counting Easter eggs, that is a difficult task. We counted and recounted, and there were actually 5 of us counting those eggs, getting them ready for the next day, and it was crazy. So I wanted to include these pictures as well, because it is part of the extreme egg hunt. And then I wanted to bring in one more piece of this pattern paper here, just to help with the overall flow. So this is going to be very, very simple. I will probably bring in another embellishment cluster, because once again, I have a seam here because I'm using up scraps of paper for this layout. So I want to bring in an embellishment cluster here, but I'm hoping I can bring it in and it's going to be something that kind of goes off to the side. Let's see what we have left here. Yep, I kind of like that to go right over the seam like that. And then I want to bring in probably this other butterfly here. So it'll look something like that. I probably will pop the butterfly up onto some foam tape. And then one more thing is I would like to use one of these word phrases. I think I'm going to use blissful. Yep. I like the word blissful. And then have that right up on top of there. Okay, so here, I'll put this on a little piece of wax paper for now. And it'll look like that, but I'll probably bring it right to the edge of the seam. That way it looks cohesive in our border. Okay, let's flip this over because we do need to work on the other side, right? Okay, all that's loose. We'll come back and adhere all that down. Okay, so this will be the side that's opened like this. So I'm going to wallpaper this side with this beautiful purple, and this one is going to be just ever so straightforward because the family photos, I can't show you all the faces straight on, so it's going to look something like that. I'll have 2 photos and then my family at the top. So when the page is opened, it will look like that. Let me step away one more time, get everything adhered to this Peekaboo Pocket, and then get this in a page protector, and I'll be right back to adhere it on and finish up this layout. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so I am back. I'm finishing up just wiping off these photos before I slide it into the page protector. I did kind of handle those quite a bit, so I want to make sure to wipe those off. Okay, so thank you so much for sticking with me through this part. We are ready now to add in the 6x12 Peekaboo Pocket. So at this point, if you're enjoying this video, I would really appreciate it if you would click that like button and give me a thumbs up. That way my content could spread to more scrapbookers like you and I. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I have my Peekaboo Pocket ready. Like I showed before, I put the yellow on the outside and it's going to sit over here. And I continued the strip. So when it's open, when it's laying in the book, the first thing they'll see is this, and then they'll flip it over here to the other side. Okay, so it comes like that, and I folded it under, and I am going to peel off the adhesive strip. So what I like to do is I like to take my pointy tweezers. Any pointy tweezers will do for this. I like to find the end. So here it is over here. Okay, and now I have it. I could pull the rest off. And then I'm going to fold it back down. And then I'm going to line it up. I have the green border, so that's going to help me a lot. So I'm going to put it right here, line it up, and then push it down. We open it up on the other side. You can't even see the strip from the Peekaboo Pocket. So I conquered a lot of photos on this. This was actually an extreme, not only an extreme egg hunt, but an extreme layout, right? So I took our sketch, I made it work for me. Remember, a sketch is not a requirement. It's more of an inspiration. It's meant to inspire, not for us to require what is on there. And I turned it into a fabulous 2-page spread with a Peekaboo Pocket, okay? I don't think I can get any more than that without adding another whole 2-page layout, okay? So this really represents our Easter egg hunt this past year. Okay, I do have other Easter photos to do besides the egg hunt, but I just thought that was super fun. So let's see, how many photos did I get on here? I have 7 over here. I have 7 over here, so that's 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 photos. So I am very happy with that. I love my embellishments across the top. That is a lot of embellishments for me and a lot of photos, but I really enjoy this layout. And thank you again for sticking with me. And until next time, take care and bye-bye.